Hi guys, Asmo here and welcome to the Skeleton Archers versus the entire endgame of PoE. I had some boss fights recorded for the guide I was making for this build, and I wanted to showcase some of them in full instead of the montage that was at the beginning. If you want to check out the guide, you can find a link to it in the description. It's the previous video on this channel, and in this video I'm gonna basically talk over the certain fights that we have here, give you some tips for fighting them, and explain basically how does this build deal with them, which most of the time basically equates to having an insane overpowered damage that basically lets me ignore many of the league mechanics. So first we're gonna get started with some double guardian. We're doing Forge of the Phoenix, and we're gonna be doing Phoenix, and then there's gonna be another guardian that joins him through the passives in the atlas that we have. So we got Phoenix here, and then we've got Minotaur, and Minotaur got completely melted. I got hit by, I think, a Maven ball or something that exploded, or maybe like extra Phoenix hit and almost died there. But you'll notice that in all of these fights, actually they're all deathless. All of the hardest fights in the game, deathless on a 4k health, 0 defense layers pretty much character, which is just a testament to like how insane damage is, because we're just basically getting carried by our damage. So this is a Hydra that is also gonna get joined by some other boss Hydra, and I couldn't even notice what was the other guardian, and he didn't drop his fragment. And of course they're all with Maven. So now after the Shaper guardians, we show Shaper. This is how Shaper works. Depending on the first move that Shaper does, you can actually either like phase him instantly, or you have to wait for him to finish doing something. Like this move that he's doing now, he's just gonna do a slam, so I have to dodge the slam, but he's already phased. Like he already took half his HP, which means he's just going to portal us out of this zone, and then we have to run through this little map. And he's healing, but I could have waited for the Shaper to recover all of his health like before the last phase, but I think someone was saying it takes like 4 or 5 minutes or like 10 minutes, I don't know, it takes a really long time for him to recover all of his health. I don't know who is this designed for, like what is this supposed to like counter or prevent. Basically it's only just to showcase DPS, I guess, because anybody who can do the Shaper fight should be able to clear this in like this little map in way less than that time, right? So this would be like some kind of a weird build that I don't know, really cannot, like, it doesn't have a Quicksilver flask or something. But the Shaper fight is very, very simple. Basically he does very few moves. He has a slam, beam, orbs, and spawns a portal, and also spawns the balls, but we never have to pretty much deal with the balls because we simply kill him too quickly. So when he does this move first, you have to sit in the red sphere, and that way you cannot be hit by the purple projectiles. But we also cannot damage him in this phase, so that's why we have to wait. We debuff him, and then he does the portal, so we also cannot damage him in this phase. He does 2 phases straight up, one after another. There was a ball at the edge of the map, so I went to pop the ball at the edge, because that is a much better position for it to be popped at. It does like a degen. And then when he comes out of this phase, he's immediately phased. Now we need to wait for him to finish his next animation that he had queued, and then he's gonna portal us out of here. And I'm gonna basically skip over this one because it's more of the same, and we just go into the last phase where he's actually not gonna do any of the invulnerability moves, so we are able to pretty much just melt him. So the way I do it is I set up my Armageddon Brand, and then I curse him with the Armageddon Brand, 2 curses plus Elemental Equilibrium. I curse him manually with a 3rd curse and with a mark, and then I also use Onslaught. This is Elder, just Elder, not Uber Elder. Elder is hilariously squishy. Like if you'll notice how much damage we're dealing, he's like instantly phased through this. It's very, very, very squishy. And then in this phase, all you have to do is basically protect Shaper. So Shaper will be doing like this beam on all 4 sides, one after another, and there are portals spawning. If you are very quick, if you're very observant, you can notice that there are portals spawning, but my minions are killing them so quickly that you can hardly even see that they're there. Like, what is this? What are these little things popping? Well, they're supposed to be portals. Monsters come out of those, and you're supposed to get overwhelmed by them, but if you deal this much damage, this is never going to be an issue. And of course we're doing it with Maven, because we're going to let all of these fights be witnessed by Maven. That's what I was doing, because I wanted to do also the feared invitation, all of the invitations that we're going to see at the end of this video as well. but you just basically need to pay attention to where a Shaper is. If you have a build that doesn't have a lot of damage, what you can do to protect him is actually use a Frost Wall. You can use Frost Wall to stop the minions from these portals from hitting Shaper, and that way you can protect him. If you protect him, I think you get better loot or something. Like you want to protect Shaper because otherwise he can die to the minions that spawn from these portals if you get overwhelmed and too many of them spawn. So this is the last corner or whatever, like the last side that he's doing. So he's gonna do this, and then Elder is gonna become targetable in a moment, and then we're gonna just burst him down in a second again. It should be very soon. There we go. So now I didn't even have time to debuff him really, he just died. And then you stand with Zana because she's gonna protect you from an explosion. You can see how much damage the minions take. All the Spectres survive, even the Carrion Golem survives. Obviously the Animate Guardian survives super easy. And now we've seen Shaper and Elder, so now let's look at an Uber Elder fight. This is one of the hardest fights. This is the only fight that I actually had a Spectre die, and that's because I mismanaged. I did a bunch of Uber Elders after this, and I managed to keep all my Spectres alive without making any changes to the build. It was just me not managing my Spectres correctly in the fight that allowed one of them to die to, I think, the balls. The balls like penetrate resistance, and my Spectres have like, I don't know, above 75 resists. I don't know what are their exact resists, but they have like something above 75, I think. Or maybe that's the Animate Guardian. I don't know. They basically, the resists get penetrated and they take a lot of damage, and at one point one of them ends up dying, but that's it. None of them die, and I have like 0 defense for my Spectres. They don't have like extra life or anything. And they have pretty low level actually. They could have like 3 more levels if I was playing a Spectre build, right? If I was playing Spectre build, they would have 3 more levels. The fight is super easy. Like we instantly skip to phase 3 because anytime that Shaper or Elder become targetable, the minions instantly melt them. And we could do this fight without the Spectre as well, but you'll see well, at one time when I get slammed, I think Spectres also get slammed, and then one of the Spectres gets caught into the balls multiple times, and that's what kills it at one point. I think it's gonna be like soon, I'm gonna be like, something slams me, yeah, the Shaper slams, and then one Spectre died to some of the balls. But that's it. Without that one Spectre, it doesn't really matter. Our skeletons alone can carry this fight, so it's not a problem at all, even though the Spectres do a significant portion of the damage as well. The phases are you basically just run in circles. That's all you want to do. You just run in circles, avoid the damage, that's all. You just continuously run in circles, and if you have a lot of damage, then it's not going to be an issue. Shaper is dead. And now Elder is the last one alive. We just finish him off and he's dead. The fight is over. Very simple fight. This was my first Uber Elder fight in this league actually, and we managed to do it deathless, no problem, very easy. And I think we dropped a Watcher's Eye and the ring as well. Like just a crappy Watcher's Eye with nothing special on it. Then let's show Conquerors. All the Conquerors that you're gonna see here are Awakener level 9, because we unlocked the Awakener level 9 bonus very quick. There's like, you blink and you miss it. As you can see, Awakener level 9, that's the level that we did all of the Conquerors at. You can see Baran, which is gonna just get absolutely melted. Then we've got Veritania, which is also going to be melted. And there isn't even time for like the Armageddon Brand to hit them really. This one is a bit tankier because he has a forced phase if you don't one-shot him, and you can only one-shot him if you deal damage to him in one hit. Like if before he phases you finish his entire health with one hit, then he doesn't get forced into that phase. But if you do multiple hits like we do with like tons of machine gun little hits, then in that situation you cannot really get over that. Then we have also an Awakener fight, and this is going to be an Awakener level 9 fight, which I'm gonna show right now. There we go, Awakener level 9, and we force him into the next phase in like 1 second or less than 1 second. Then we just have to dodge all of the damage that he's throwing at us while he's phasing. And I recommend on this fight going always like bottom left, because that way you stop him from traveling. He travels in like a triangle or a circle that is clockwise, so if you stand in his way, he's actually not gonna travel toward you, and if he is, then that means he's gonna actually get closer to you, and the tornadoes are gonna get further away from you, so that time between the phases is gonna be quicker. Usually like 4 abilities, he does this full rotation, and then we can go under him, and very easy, like just repeat that over and over. That's how I do Awakener, and it ends up being quicker than if I was going like to the right side or top or somewhere else when we phase him. Here we are kind of forced to go above him, which is also fine because again we're standing in his way, so he cannot really move forward. I'm gonna speed up through this footage so that you don't have to watch me like wait for the tornadoes to move, because that's pointless. We stand into a lot of degen, but we just resummon the minions and the skeletons and they're perfectly fine. Phase him again, and this is gonna be now one more phase I think, and then we've got the, or maybe this is the last one already. Yeah, I think this is the last phase already. I messed up Onslaught way too early, so I'm gonna be fighting him actually without Onslaught, which is a big difference. So I would have killed him faster if I had Onslaught, but I messed up and you popped it too early before he actually went down. So that's Awakener 9 with complete garbage loot. This is Uber Atsiri. I'm not gonna show regular Atsiri because it's basically similar fight with like much less health, much less challenge. And Uber Atsiri has elemental reflect. So what you need to do on this build to do Uber Atsiri like I'm doing right now is number 1 the Pantheon for 25% reduced reflected damage taken, and then you get 80% reduced reflected damage taken from a ring. It's called Sibyl's something, very cheap ring for 1C. You just get that ring at the Pantheon and just drop the animated guardian for this fight from a ring, and you're gonna be able to do it no problem. So that's how I managed. So we don't have the feeding frenzy, and we don't have the crit multi or fortify, but it's still super easy. Memory fights, incredibly easy as well. You just instantly melt them. This is augmented distant memory. This is twisted distant memory. They all basically look the same. It's just a boss appears, a boss disappears. That's it. We just pop onslaught, everything dead. The Cortex is basically like more of the same because you fight them all at one time. So much more interesting than Cortex is actually the invitation fight. In this invitation Maven fight, you fight 4 different twisted memory bosses at the same time, or not exactly at the same time, right? Because if you pay attention to where the blue line appears at the beginning where she spawns them, you're gonna see which ones are spawning first, right? It's sometimes it's gonna be like 2 bosses that spawn. Like this is I think Shaper Guardians, right? So we're looking here, Minotaur, very nice. If Minotaur spawns first and you can kill him quickly, like you really want to pay attention to Minotaur because he's gonna burrow, and when he unburrows he's gonna one-shot you guaranteed. So don't let him burrow, just kill him before he burrows, and then you're gonna be safe. Hydra went on vacation somewhere, so we have to wait for him to come back to the map, and there we go. That's the invitation. There we've got the Guardians for Elder, so Elder Guardian fight. Also similarly very simple. I think the first one we killed is Eradicator, so that's also very nice. That's perfect for us. Then we've got like the Purifier or something, and then we've got next one. Where is he? That's still I think the Constrictor, and this is the one of the last ones. There we go. Enforcer or whatever, I don't know what it's called. After that we've got, what is this one? This one is the Breach Lords. Yes, this one is the Breach Lord. The Breach Lords are very interesting because they're much harder in here because they are at the level of like pure Watchstones when you do them here. So they are much more difficult here than if you do like a regular Breach Lord, and like someone like Tool can actually do serious damage. But if you look at them in their natural habitat, this is how it looks like. It's actually quite hilarious, so I wanted to show this as well. Like when I was doing the Breach Lords for the Witness, like what the fuck, it just appears, disappears. This is the Feared. So the Feared is supposed to be like the hardest fight. We fight Uber Atsiri, Shaper, Elder, Cortex, everything at the same time. And as you can see, this was Uber Atsiri, this is the guy from Cortex, but Shaper spawns, so I'm going quickly to the Shaper to eliminate him before that. Then I'm looking if anybody else spawned in the meantime. No, so I'm finishing this guy off. Then we got Chayula from the pure Chayula, and then we've got Elder, and that's it. That's the Feared fight. Lasts some 20 seconds, you know? Very easy. And the last one is the Maven fight. Maven fight is something where you actually have like serious phases for the boss fights, and you have to pay attention to the different mechanics. It's a much more intricate fight, but you can still skip through the phases. As you can see, this is like the first phase. We don't really have to do much. Wait for the platform to open. We go to the platform to escape the explosion, and then we can go to the brain and just melt the brain. he spawns like other minions and bosses from other maps, but we melt him so quickly that we never see what he does. Like, we never see many of the mechanics of this fight because of how much damage we have. This is one of the fights where having insane damage is actually extremely beneficial. Memory game. These are very annoying how poor visually indicated they are. I hate how poor the visuals are on this. Extremely bad contrast on these. I hate how this is made in terms of like the colors, right? Because it's the memory game is cool, but especially on the last phase, it becomes even less clear. Like, it's just annoying as hell. I don't know why GG balances things by making things annoying instead of by making them more difficult. I should make a video about this as well to address this, but yeah. Maven, just killing her, skipping the phases. Then we got another memory game, I think, right? There should be another one of those. Top, left, top, left, top, right. Okay. Top, left, top, left, top, right. And we make sure to not get exploded by the circle in the middle. That's the dangerous part of it. The circle in the middle. We pop these anywhere, doesn't matter because they're gonna get cleared. I think this one doesn't get cleared actually, so this one I shouldn't have dropped there maybe, because this one stays on the map. Last brain phase, I think. And after that we've got another memory game, and I'm doing it without logging out, without cheesing, because I wanted to show this fight in a nice way. We get hit by the beam. Later I did the beam challenge, but in this one we get hit by the beam. But we're gonna look how unclear it's gonna be. Like, it's so hard to see this shit. And there was one at the top where I guessed that it was at the top because I didn't see it on left or right. So I kind of guessed where it was based on like not seeing it, which made it way harder and like just incredibly difficult memory game to see among like dodging the beams and thinking of like, is Maven gonna spawn here? When is she spawning? And so on. So yeah, that's it. Those are all of the fights. If you want to see the build, you can check the description. You're gonna find POB and a guide for this build. Thank you guys for watching. Check out my stream at twitch.tv/AskModellStream and see you next time.